Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. This is pretty much wrapping up a series that I had started like a 5-parter earlier. Now this is the end. The reason we're showing the end a little bit later, and there's been some videos in between, but the reason we're showing this because I really wanted you guys to see the final on this with the wrought iron and me patching up that ugly looking skirting they had underneath the mobile home, or the manufactured home, you could say. But, you know, the block wall looks beautiful as is, but wait till you see it when we get this wrought iron on here. I mean, it really makes a difference, and I was really waiting to put all this together for you. So here's how we're doing the gravel. I'm first of all getting rid of all of the organic, the roots. We knocked that tree out. There was a tree over in that corner. We knocked that over, pulled that out. The roots weren't very deep. The trunk was huge, but surprisingly, there wasn't much under it. And it's probably because there's not a lot of water, so they're all surface roots, so it fell over very easily. Here's some of the grass, crabgrass, along that edge. The only place it grows because the water that runs down the street. Otherwise, you're pretty much vegetation free in this particular climate, unless you're watering heavy. So what I'm not using a weed fabric, because I really don't see a point in it out here. What I'm going to do is just use crushed concrete. That'll be my weed barrier because nothing really grows in it. Here's your water main. What I'm doing here is I'm adjusting the level of these two boxes here. So basically what they've done here is one box is the city box for your meter read. The next box, they have a shutoff valve in it, an additional shutoff valve to the provided one from the meter, which I don't really understand, but that's how they did it. And I was just leveling those up a little bit to make this slope of the gravel work come out nice and flush with the boxes. We have a little area on the left of the driveway as well that we're going to also be filling in with some decorative gravel. So the first thing we're going to have to do before we put the decorative gravel in here is get the groundwork right, get it nice and flat, get it ready to accept that gravel. So first off, I'm dealing with native soil, just getting it all in the right places, getting it compacted. Because what I don't want to happen, and this is in anything you're going to build over dirt, is you want to be consistent with your dirt from 0 to 12 inches, whatever. You want to use the same soils all the way up. Otherwise, you're going to have settlement issues in different areas at different rates, and then it's going to be really funky looking at the end. So first, we're going to deal with all of that, the subgrade, getting that right, and then we're going to put the coating, the topping over it. So if there was settling in the future, for instance, it's going to all happen together at once. You're not going to get like a dip here, dip there, because you're using different soils and different things of that nature to build you up. Here's your road base. I happen to get this from S&S Materials. They grind up old concrete, also new concrete. As a matter of fact, anytime they have a excess concrete that goes into the dump, they grind it, repurpose it. And here's the backyard of this property. We've already got the concrete in. You can see all these different phases, even the block wall in the previous videos. I'm going to put a link for every part of this whole development. I'm going to put a link in there so you could fall back and check out the whole development series. That's the block wall. That's the concrete, stamped concrete as well. A lot of different things going on in this job. So here's just your subgrade getting worked. We're using native soil, just getting it right to begin with. Once we get that nice and compacted, then we can put a decorative coating over the top. Here's your ground concrete going in. And that's my weed barrier also. The reason I like the compacted road base on top of the native, especially this particular type of soil, what can happen if you get a lot of water into the soil and you're walking around out there, water is really irrelevant out here. We get 4 inches of rain per year. So it's not really an object, but what you really want to be concerned with is that you don't want that dirt to infiltrate your decorative gravel. That's the main concern. So you have to figure out, how can I stop native soil from integrating into my decorative gravel? And this is how I do it. I put the road base down, crushed concrete, compacted. That's a weed barrier, as well as if there was a flood back here, for instance, which probably would never happen, and it got muddy, that mud could work its way up into the decorative gravel. In this case, it's not going to happen because of the road base. Here comes your 30 tons of decorative gravel, rocking yard right out of Bullhead. They were able to transport the whole package on one trip. Now, I could have driven the tractor all the way to the backyard here. Instead, I elected to dump into wheelbarrows at the end over there in the back, and then they're going to just wheel them out. It's easy wheeling because we're on compacted ground now. So it's like wheeling on concrete, basically. So real easy wheelbarrowing. And I'm not disturbing the soil by driving my tractor into the backyard. We have Eric and my brother Doug on the wheelbarrows doing the grading, and I'm running the tractor. So we're running a pretty meager crew, 3-man crew, pretty much every day. Other than when we did the masonry work, all this block wall, we had about a 12-man crew. So in the front yard, I'm able to do most of the work and grading with the tractor because I'm not doing a lot of turning and twisting. I'm not disturbing that compacted road base, so I'm able to do a lot of it with the tractor. Now, if you see the stamped concrete to the right, you can see that in a previous video. I'll put that in the link in the description. We got really lucky with the 30 tons that they brought in. It was just the right amount. And we got about 3 inches coverage over the base everywhere. And there was no gravel to spare either. So I have Eric. What I'm doing is I'm compacting this decorative gravel everywhere, especially where the RV access is. I thought that was important, having the road base underneath the decorative gravel. So I've got road base compacted, decorative gravel on top of road base compacted. So when that RV drives up in there, it's not going to leave ruts. You're not going to push down into the native, absorbing in through the gravel. Even on a rainy day, I don't even think it'll affect it. Basically, we're controlling what's going to happen to this gravel by that compacted road base. Even with heavy equipment driving on it, on a rainy, muddy day, it's not going to bring up the soils into this gravel. Now, here's your final cleanup. We're just going to pressure wash all the way around and wrap it up. I have arrived back on the job site about a month later. And what I'm going to do today is fix this block up. I'm going to cover it up with some patch material. Let me show you that. Here's the product I'm going to be using. 0 to 3/4 of an inch. That's the coverage on it. So you can go from basically a feather edge all the way up to 3/4 of an inch thick without any glue. It bonds to brick, block, plaster, other masonry surfaces. No water curing needed. Interior, exterior, excellent bond. You can do an ultra smooth finish. You can also do broom texture, which is what I'm going to do on this because I kind of want to blend it in with the other concrete around here. So anyway, let's get down to business. So we're just going to blow the dirt off to start with. We're using that Milwaukee cordless blower. Blow some of the dirt off. Even though the product says you don't need glue, I'm going to still use glue. That way I get the best of both worlds on the bonding. I'll use some of this on there. Brush that around. I also have another gallon of it, but we're going to go all the way around this house on this block. Okay, here's the glue process. You don't want any standing moisture. Could be water or glue. You just don't want puddling. Has to be absorbed. So we don't want to put too much, otherwise we gotta wait longer. Just gonna work this stuff in here really good. What? Here's your Wonder Fix. We're mixing it up right here. What I do is I add the water first to the bucket, then I start dumping the product in. We're mixing it with a paddle mixer. Also, we're doing the face of some of this exposed block. We're kind of going over the face of it as well, so it kind of blends nicely. We did put some glue on here, as you've seen earlier, and we let it dry enough so that there is no puddling in the glue itself. It's already kind of dried out there. A little cleanup, any of that residue of the cement that gets onto that siding we'll need to wipe off, and that's what I'm doing here. It's not an easy task, but you know, application is key, or taping it off. Now here's the broom product. We're just using a paintbrush to just smooth it out and give it a nice little texture that will match the surrounding concrete texture. Now, if you noticed in the backyard area, this block is pretty much flush with the concrete that we poured, which we can show a link in the description to see that previous video of the concrete going in. But here we did some tape along the edge just to try to keep the area clean. You could potentially pour concrete over the top of this block if the house was higher, but since the house is at this level, sitting at the elevation of that block, I chose to not pour over the block and encase the wood and create a dry rot situation. So we're just going to skim coat the block, you know, in hopes that the water will drain away from that siding and not rot out the base of it. It is very dry here. We have about 7% humidity year round. We have about 4 to 5 inches average rainfall per year, so water's not a real concern. But the idea of it, you know, just washing down, doing cleanup around the house, you know, you're going to get a little bit more moisture. There's a portion of the wrought iron railing. It's in its rough state right now. You can see the welds. You know, we're going to dress those up a little bit. We're going to powder coat it. Oh, look at that blade. That's the good kind. The steel doesn't get hot. They just knock chips out. Oh, you're going to cut one right now. These are nice blades, huh? Yeah. ¿Es no caliente? So I'm here with New Art Creations, Marcelo, the owner. He fabricates all the stuff that goes out to different areas. A lot of it ends up in California, but so much more cost effective to manufacture here in Arizona. Well, this is the stuff New Art Creations is making, fabricating here, Fort Mohave, Arizona, shipping her down to the OC, Orange County, California. Here's the color we're going with on this. This is what the homeowner selected for the wrought iron. This one. Yep. Here we are back back in the wrought iron manufacturing place. Here's what we got so far. This is on top of the wall, the short wall in front. Nice. Hey, Mark. I poured concrete at 5 and I was finished.
Yeah, these are keeping me stronger.
Yeah, you got to do something. If you don't have a gym membership, you gotta keep working.
Yeah.
I got a gym membership. I went down there and got it, but I haven't used it yet because I've been working every day. So I'm not gonna go if I'm working.
Getting that workout every day anyway.
Yeah, it's like Doug kept telling me today. We're trialing the concrete. He goes, God, man, I gotta get to the gym to do my arms. I said, well, just keep trialing the concrete.
Trial a little more, Doug.
Yeah, I said, trial the concrete. That's all you gotta do.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that does make it look so much better, huh? Now it makes so much more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Because before, I'm sure everybody's going,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
but now,
With that,
no.
that's kind of a bummer. But I think it's good enough. Oh yeah, that's not gonna go nowhere.
The weight's on the pole. All the bolts
Yeah.
are doing is just holding it down.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Well, he's got it mounted here too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Right?
it's solid.
Yeah.
It's solid. I mean,
Wow, look at that. How I got this is.
that's pretty good work there, Dave.
Man, that was lucky.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's not a fluke.
I
Right?
know.
Especially with this.
Yeah, I wonder
with
if
this being set the way it was.
Yeah.
That's not a fluke.
This is all powder coated too.
Oh, it's the difference. I mean, because you can look at that at the entry gate, and you look at the finish on this.
Oh yeah,
The finish on this is so much
way
nicer.
different, huh? Wherever.
Yeah. It's going to sport now. Tunda basura por eso.
Now it's looking like something, huh?
That's great. I can't thank you enough, Dave. I'm serious. I mean, I really appreciate the way you handled the project start to finish, man. This has been nothing but fantastic. Yes.
That's great. Glad you liked it. Glad it all worked out. How does it going, Marcelo?
It's good.
You got to put a big spacer again, huh? Just like this one.
Right too.
Dos low, yeah.
Both sizes.
Yeah. Here's your finished product. We had to wait a little while on this wrought iron to come in, but I just wanted to show how it looks finalized, and it's much better, you know, with the completed project. Just kind of see the vision. Let's look over at this gate over here. We've really transformed this a lot. If you go to part 1 of this series compared to now, it's really night and day. Coming in the gate now. Also, we dressed out this curb as well. I just didn't like it. I couldn't stand looking at it unfinished like it was. If you look at some of the earlier parts, you could see this block work standing out with no cap. Not a very well grouted piece of work here. Now it looks finished. It's not perfect, but it's hard to correct things when they're done wrong to begin with. Much easier to do them right the first time. But this is an improvement other than an open block look, the irregular grout. So much nicer now. And you can see the patch is still a little moist here. This is what we did today. This area here. The grates for those crawl spaces. That's why the plywood's there. The grates getting coated just like the wrought iron. So everything's kind of matching. Also, it had to be reinforced because you could fall through it potentially the way it was designed before. Very hazardous. So they're going to add some reinforced angle iron to those grates that were over the drop for the crawl space. Here's an inside look. The latches and doors, the gate latches and doors will be matching. Also, they'll have a keypad entry. They don't yet, but they will. Let's talk to the owner, Bob, and kind of see how he thinks the whole job went for him. Here he is here. Here's the man, the myth, the legend, Bob. How did it go, Bob? Everything?
Oh, 100%. I couldn't be happier. This project from start to finish has just been a breeze to work with you and work with your team, and you helped direct me through this, and I couldn't be happier. The results are amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Bob, for the good words. It was great working for you too, and I appreciated those beverages that you got from Mexico. Those were great.
Yeah. Well, that should help ease some of the pain.
Yeah. The old snake oil treatment. Nothing better than that. All right.
Thank you so much.